Now at 5, a weather impact alert day because of a wintry mix. I'll have your forecast. Guilty. That's the verdict for the man who gunned down his ex and the mother of his son outside a daycare. Tonight, her dad responds after that jury reached their decision.
And the push to ban transgender women from playing on women's college teams. The bill lawmakers are now debating at the State House. Live from Indy, you're watching 13 News. It is a weather impact alert day across central Indiana.
And look at the radar and you certainly can see why. This is a live look right now at Doppler 13 radar. The system is bringing a variety of things, a plethora, if you will, a charcuterie board of sleet.
We got it all.
Snow and freezing rain all coming to our area. And of course, when we have weather like this, it could impact some of the plans you have tonight.
Yes, as Ann just said, we got it all for you tonight. And that's why we're keeping a close eye on the roads for you. And we're going to take this is a live look at conditions right now in Boone County, where we have where we have not seen any problems yet. But we know these conditions are ever changing, so we want to keep you updated on this forecast.
That's right. So what are you seeing right now? Those live images that we're looking at in Boone County, northwest of downtown, you were talking about this north-south barrier. What are you seeing?
And it's still going to be north where we have the tricky travel in the coming hours. So really, this is just the beginning. We're going to start with live Doppler 13 radar, and it does show all of the colors. The cold rain south of 70, that rain changing over to freezing rain and sleet north of Interstate 70, and then some sleet mixing with at times a few snow showers. And as I mentioned, this is just the beginning. The moisture continues to evolve. This weather system continues to develop, and it will continue to have an impact tonight. Indianapolis south to Greenwood, Shelbyville to Greensburg. Roads are wet, and this is just a cold rain. Once you move into northern Marion County and points north, that's where we start to see the temperatures drop just enough that we're getting freezing rain. That freezing rain transitions to sleet and snow the farther north you go. We're going to be monitoring air temperatures and road temperatures. Road temperatures in Indianapolis up toward Fishers and Point South still above freezing. However, we're below freezing. Lafayette over toward Marion, Muncie and Richmond. This is where we're going to have that tricky travel. Winter weather advisory through 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. And as I pointed out, this really is just the beginning of this winter weather system. Accumulations of ice and a couple of inches of snow. I'll have the hour-by-hour timeline in a few minutes.
All right, Angela, we will stay close as you continue to stay on top of this, and we can all do this at any time with the live Doppler 13 weather app.
If you don't have it, go get it. It's a free download, and you can find it in your phone's app store.
Developing tonight, a jury convicts Orlando Mitchell of murder in the first of 2 murder cases that he faces here in Marion County.
Mitchell shot and killed his ex-girlfriend, Crystal Walton, outside a daycare on the west side. Our Rich Nye talked to her dad today, right after that verdict.
The jury only took about an hour to find Orlando Mitchell guilty of the murder of Crystal Walton. They rejected the defense argument that this was voluntary manslaughter, that Mitchell acted in sudden heat.
The evidence, all captured on security video, showed that Mitchell staked out the daycare and waited for Walton to drop off her 2 kids, including his 1-year-old son. Mitchell ambushed her as she walked back to her car. Walton's father and another man were removed from the courtroom after a stare-down with Mitchell when that video was shown Tuesday.
When we saw the vicious attack on her and how he just gunned her down, we flipped. I'm just keeping it real. That was a lot to take, just to see your daughter who had no choice. She didn't even stand a chance, and this creepy predator just violently, viciously attack her.
The defense argued Mitchell snapped because he was not being allowed to see their son. The jury also found him guilty of violating a protective order, an order that could not protect Walton.
We are dealing with a different type of person here, and certainly we want to make sure that we send a clear message to everybody involved in the community is we need you to come forward on these domestic violence cases. We need you to provide that information so we can be in a position to try to help and offer some level of assistance.
Mitchell is sentenced April 1st when Walton's family returns to speak for her.
This is all love for her. This is love for Crystal, our daughter, our niece, our sister, our cousin. So she's reached out, just over these past couple of years and touched the community.
Walton was 32 years old. Rich Nye, 13 News.
And this will not be the last time we see Orlando Mitchell in a courtroom in a murder trial.
He is also accused of killing a Marion County Sheriff's deputy. Investigators say that he attacked Deputy John Durham in July of 2023.
The deputy had just taken Mitchell for medical treatment, and this was for an injury that Mitchell got when he was shot by Metro Police as they tried to make an arrest for him after Crystal Walton's murder.
The Marion County Prosecutor's Office is seeking the death penalty against Mitchell for Deputy Durham's death. Mitchell is expected to go on trial for that crime in August of next year.
And we have yet another update for you tonight on that little 3-year-old boy severely burned in a Hendricks County crash.
As we first told you last night on 13 News at 5, his family is preparing to take him off life support 1 week after the crash in Plainfield. Now his mother, Jack Waters, tells 13 News that Aries is currently receiving comfort care. She tells us he will be able to donate his kidneys, liver, and heart valves to other children.
She went on to say that he loved to pretend that he was a Superman or a superhero, adding, quote, "He truly is a superhero in the way he's been able to brighten anyone's day in almost an instant with all the silly things he says and his smile that is the most contagious I've ever seen."
Oh. Aries' 2-month-old sister, Iris, died in this crash. The suspect is under arrest in the Hendricks County Jail, facing 8 charges.
Tonight, a man who is now accused in the murders of 2 brothers at a gas station right here in Indianapolis is hoping that a judge will approve a plea deal. Martise McGee appeared in the Marion County courtroom today, where the judge took that plea under advisement. 13 News has learned that deal has him pleading to 2 concurrent voluntary manslaughter charges in place of 2 murder charges. He's accused of shooting and killing Jacarius Mitchell and Jimmy Thomas at a Shell gas station at 34th and Emerson in April of 2023. Investigators say the key was the fingerprints that were on a 2-liter bottle of pop that led them to making the arrest of McGee.
Tonight, a 19-year-old man is under arrest accused of killing an 18-year-old woman a little more than a year ago.
And he's preparing to make his first appearance in court tomorrow. Ariel Calhoun died in the shooting in December of 2023.
It happened near East 75th and Hague Road, just blocks from where Calhoun lived with her mother.
Metro Police tell us they arrested Tyrese Rendell a few days ago.
And he's now facing murder charges and robbery resulting in serious bodily injury.
A bill banning transgender women from competing in women's college sports here in the state of Indiana, now at the Indiana State House, is moving forward.
The Education Committee voted overwhelmingly to send the bill to the full House for consideration. And 13 News State House reporter Emily Longnecker was there for the debate.
And Emily, we're hearing that, as you can imagine, there are some pretty strong emotions on both sides of this issue.
Yeah, absolutely. We heard from advocates in the trans community and their allies about why they believe this bill will harm the transgender community. We also heard from some female athletes who say they competed with and against transgender women in sports and believe they were denied a level playing field because of that.
Women deserve the chance to win in their own sports and not just earn a participation trophy.
But Selena Soul, a former high school track and field athlete from Connecticut, told Indiana lawmakers Wednesday, no matter how hard she trained, it was never enough to win against 2 transgender girls who she often competed against.
I remember what it was like to line up in the blocks, wanting to win, but knew the outcome of the race long before the start.
Soul testified in support of House Bill 1041 that would require Indiana colleges and universities to designate teams as male, female, or co-ed, banning transgender women from playing on a women's team. Supporters of the bill, like its author, say it's about making sure female college athletes have a fair shot when they compete.
It is a common sense legislation that ensures that female athletes are provided with a safe and even playing field at the collegiate level in Indiana.
Republican State Representative Michelle Davis authored a similar bill in 2022 that became law. It bans transgender girls from competing on girls' sports teams in grades K through 12. Davis was there last week when President Trump signed an executive order calling for federal funding to be withheld from any schools that let trans women compete on women's sports teams. A day later, the NCAA announced it was changing its policy on trans women being allowed to participate in women's collegiate sports. The new policy bans them from doing so. So why not let the NCAA policies dictate who can play on what team? That was Democratic State Representative Ed Delaney's question about the bill.
We have a very difficult situation with some people who are struggling with their identity. And I think part of what's going on here is an effort to show that we really don't like them.
Advocates for the transgender community say 1041 puts a target on the backs of transgender folks, sending the message they're not welcome in Indiana.
Transgender youth are in crisis, and not because of who they are, but because of how they are being treated. They need leaders who will protect them, not politicians who make them out to be an enemy.
So strong feelings on both sides of this debate. House Bill 1041 passed out of the Education Committee by a vote of 12-1. It will now be considered by all lawmakers in the House. At the Indiana State House, Emily Longnecker, 13 News.
Thank you, Emily. And our 13 Investigates team just learned a bill that would require AEDs in schools is set to die in committee.
In its sideline investigation, our 13 Investigates team revealed that the state of Indiana failed to properly study just how many AEDs really are placed in Indiana schools. The investigation also found that many districts do not have important policy and plans about AEDs in place.
An AED can restart a heart that stops. SB 350 would have required schools to have the devices and plans in place to use them. The bill's author says she is not giving up, and supporters hope the language in her bill can be incorporated into a different proposed law.
Downtown Indy's Economic Enhancement District is now one step closer to going into effect.
Earlier this week, a council committee gave the budget the green light. However, it still needs to be approved by the full council. So the district is a long-term funding plan. It's a long-term funding tool for Downtown Indy, Inc. For the last few years, the nonprofit relied on COVID relief dollars to fund safety and cleaning initiatives.
So this new plan would generate funds by charging a fee to downtown commercial properties. The money raised then would be used for cleaning, public safety, and outreach to the unhoused.
And all of those areas are equally important, and that's really why this strategy of 7-day-a-week consistent operations is so critical.
So right now that budget is set at $4.5 million.
The council will vote on it March 3rd. And there are a lot of questions about student loans, especially with the shakeup at the Department of Education.
Our Verify team is now looking into some of the claims out there that you might have seen online about getting them erased. We look into that right here, new at 5:30. But first, the weather with Angela. It's a big weather forecast.
It is, Ann and Felicia. Our weather pattern turning icy and snowy the next several hours. I'll have the timeline.
Preparing for the worst.
The precautions people in Southern California are taking as a winter storm prepares to hit an area already destroyed by wildfires. That's next.